Hi everyone, a very good morning to all of you. I am Manat Sharma from Oliveboard and I'm here with the live mint analysis that we do every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. But yesterday I could not take up a class, so I shifted it to today. Okay. Now, just let me know before I begin whether my audio and video is clear. Acha, Rahul has already told me that my audio and video is absolutely fine. Thank you so much, Rahul. And I hope all of you are studying for your examination. है ना? Chalo, before I begin, if you want to download this YouTube class PDF, you can do it from the Oliveboard app. Just go to the courses section. There's going to be a separate YouTube class PDFs folder. You can download it from here. Apart from that, I'll share my Telegram handle with you if you want to connect with me beyond these sessions. Just type Mannat Educator. You will have access to my Telegram account. Okay? Chalo. Now let's see what are we going to cover today. Firstly, RBI cautions states on fiscal discipline as bond yield rises. So basically, RBI is cautioning the states कि भाई you are spending a lot, है ना, borrowing and spending a lot. So you have to control that. ठीक है, let's see the details about that. Then India stares at 2.7 billion hit as US sanctions Russian oil companies. So US has put sanctions on a few Russian oil companies because of which it is going to impact or it is going to put an impact on India. Let's see what is that impact and which all Russian companies have been sanctioned. Thirdly, India beats China in duty free access to poor nations. So now India has surpassed China to provide maximum duty free access to poor nations, providing, tariff free access to the poor nations, towards its own country. Okay. Then manufacturing mission to get 10,000 crore boost. We're going to talk about national manufacturing mission. Then Deloitte pegs India's financial year 26 GDP growth. Let's see that what has it pegged. Then we're going to cover a few fact-based news and at last some MCQs. Okay? Chalo, let's start. RBI cautions states on fiscal discipline as bond yield rises. Okay? So this is the news. Here let's try and understand the relationship first of all between bond prices and interest rates. Can anyone tell me what is the relationship between bond prices and interest rates? Anyone in the comment section? What is the relationship between bond prices, not bond yield, bond prices and interest rates? Anybody? As interest rate increases, bond prices come down, then bond yield rises. Very good. So there is a negative relationship between the two. Okay, why there is a negative relationship between the two? Say interest rates have risen, है ना? Interest rates have risen. That means now taking loan from the bank has become expensive. So what you're going to do? You're going to start taking up bonds. है ना? You will prefer bonds more. ठीक है? So the bond when you start taking bonds more, the bond prices fall, है ना? And the bond yield rises because now you're moving towards the bonds. So bonds have become more attractive now. So there is a negative relationship between bond prices and interest rates. Okay, yes, inverse relationship between bond prices and interest rates. So when interest rates increases, the bond prices fall, and when interest rate decreases, the bond prices rise, and bond yield in first case increases, bond yield in second case decreases. Okay, so there is an inverse relationship between the two. Okay, fine, I hope this is clear. So you know what happens is when let's take another example. When rate of interest is going to fall, I hope you guys are able to understand. When interest rates are going to fall, that means new bonds offer lower returns, है ना? New bonds will offer lower returns because now rate of interest has reduced. ठीक है, new bonds offer lower returns, है ना? So old bonds which have higher returns, they become more attractive and their price rises. So there is a opposite relationship between the two. Fine. So now what is RBI saying? RBI is saying RBI has cautioned state governments, especially Bihar and Maharashtra, against pre-election populist spending and fiscal slippage. What does this mean? That now that they have elections, what happens is that the governments, they spend a lot, which are known as populist spending. So to attain votes and all, they spend a lot. Now, RBI Governor Sanjay Malhotra raised concerns during a meeting with state finance secretaries held last month. States were urged to maintain fiscal discipline and adhere to the FRBM Act. बहुत ज़्यादा spending मत करो because it is going to impact the fiscal deficit. The warning comes amid a sharp rise in state bond yields. Why? Because the state bond yields are rising. ठीक है? Global uncertainties are rising. The spread between 10-year government bonds and state development loans has widened to 106 to 112 basis points. Okay, which means that there is increased market risk perception about the state borrowings. That is why this is widening. People, these 10-year government bonds, the spread between 10-year government bonds and state development loans has increased a lot. Okay, increased market borrowings and global uncertainty have raised borrowing costs for the states. RBI noted excessive borrowing, populist welfare spending. Therefore, there is an urgent need that we have to control this populist spending. We have to control and maintain fiscal discipline. ठीक है? In this conference of state finance secretaries, RBI emphasized the need for fiscal prudence. So, what is fiscal prudence? What is the meaning of fiscal prudence? That you are prudent enough in the long run. You are utilizing your money in such a manner that in the long run you do not fall into a debt trap. So you should have good policies in the future. Good morning, M&M. है ना? RBI stated that sound public finances are vital for sustainable growth and prosperity. RBI expressed concerns for states with higher debt levels facing both economic and non-economic stress. Now, Bihar has announced this Mukhyamantri Mahila Rozgar Yojana, wherein 10,000 seed funding is provided to women, up to 2 lakh for women self-employment. ठीक है, Maharashtra declared 31,628 crore relief package for farmers who are affected by heavy rains and floods. Because of this, they have, these such welfare and relief announcements have fueled fears of fiscal strain in states like HP, Punjab, Uttarakhand, Bihar. ठीक है, as of October 1425, states have borrowed how much? 5.23 trillion rupees, about 62% of their planned borrowings for financial year 25. ठीक है, so you can see here that this is the total borrowings of the states. Remember this data. This figure is 1.37 trillion higher than the same period last year. Bank of Baroda showed, total state borrowings for quarter 3 financial year 25 at 2.82 trillion rupees. The spread between state development loans and 10-year government bonds has widened, है ना? And Bank of Baroda noted that this year's SDL borrowings is one of the highest compared to the previous years. State development loans are increasing a lot. Fine. Then states such as Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, they have also announced populist welfare schemes, which is straining the fiscal scenario. ठीक है, state deficits could widen, higher borrowing costs, reduced investor confidence. है ना? So we need to monitor this. That is what is the news about. ठीक है, so you are supposed to, here I'm giving you homework, please revise your chapter of deficits, types of deficits. Fiscal deficit, primary deficit, है ना? Budgetary deficit, all these deficits and all. ठीक है, please revise it. Revenue deficit and all. Second news is that India stares at $2.7 billion hit as US sanctions Russian oil companies. ठीक है, so US has been putting sanctions on Russian oil companies like Rosneft, PJSC, Lukoil, PJSC. Okay, sometimes directly the names can be asked in the MCQ type questions. These are the two largest suppliers of Russian oil to India. Fine. They might disrupt India's oil imports because refiners they will have to source crude oil from other sources, maybe from West Asia, which is also known as the Middle East, Mediterranean, US. है ना? Now Russia के साथ what is the benefit? Why do we take loan from Russia? Because they offer us heavy discounts. They provide us heavy discounts, which really helps us in filling up our strategic petroleum reserves. What are strategic petroleum reserves? Anyone? What are strategic petroleum reserves? SPRs. What are strategic petroleum reserves? Write down in the comment section and tell me. So, Russia say we get a lot of discounts on crude oil. Now that they have imposed sanctions on Russia, now we will have to diversify our source and take from those areas which do not provide discounts. Right? ठीक है? This is going to put an impact on the Indian refiners. The sanctions could force Indian refiners to buy oil from costlier sources, and there may be an additional cost of 2.7 billion rupee, 2.7 million dollars in financial year 25, which might raise the country's oil import bill by around 2%. See, strategic petroleum reserves in a country are maintained. Why maintained? So that strategic petroleum reserves are that we have maintained a reserve of crude oil. It might be underground in particular areas. Why? So that in times of emergency, whenever there is a need, we can utilize from these reserves. We can utilize our crude oil from these reserves. Okay, so we are trying to fill up our reserves. Now I am giving you a homework over here. You're going to check that in India, how many strategic petroleum reserves are there. How many strategic petroleum reserves are there in the country, and learn those the names of those places. Okay, fine. This is your homework. Okay, so what is the significance of Russian oil imports? Russia has been the largest supplier of crude oil to India since financial year 23. Okay, 35% of India's total imported crude oil is from Russia. Such kind of statements are important, will help you in your descriptive answer writing. ठीक है, डिस्क्रिप्टिव आंसर राइटिंग में such statements can help you. ठीक है, so रशिया से imports 35%. ठीक है, deadline for stopping transactions. The US has set a deadline of November 21 for companies worldwide to stop transactions with Russian oil producers, right, like Rosneft and Lukoil. And this could lead to Indian companies reducing their purchases to comply with these sanctions. India's crude oil imports are valued at $137 billion in financial year 25. ठीक है, how much oil imports in financial 25? $137 billion. A 2% increase in oil import bill due to these sanctions would add approximately $2.7 billion. So how much addition of your import bill is going to be there? $2.7 billion, which is also a lot. ठीक है, it is going to impact oil companies, Indian oil companies like Reliance Industries Limited, which is one of the biggest buyers of discounted Russian oil. ठीक है, and currently global crude oil prices stand in the range of 82 to $84 per barrel. And availability of oil will not be a major issue globally, but India will lose the price advantage that it used to get by buying from Russia. ठीक है, Prashant Vashisht, these are analysts' opinions. They stated that replacing Russian oil with higher priced crude oil will increase India's import bill but won't cause a shortage. Deepak Mahurkar noted that while availability won't be a major issue, loss of discounts will significantly impact costs. Hashraj Iyer mentioned that about 30% of India's crude came from Russia, and replacing it could raise prices by about zero point 0.6 per barrel of crude, affecting the economy. Now, why are these statements important? So that you can quote them, or you can write them in your descriptive answers. Okay. Then Donald Trump, since Donald Trump has taken up the presidency, his administration has pressured India so that they can stop importing from Russia, but we have not really complied to them. And now that they have put sanctions on Russian companies only, now we might take this issue forward. We also might stop taking from Russian companies. Okay. Next news is that India beats China in duty free access to poor nations. Fine. So, what is this news? That India is becoming a leader in providing duty free access, tariff free access to the poor nations. ठीक है, that means we are really helping in building up the global south. We are really helping out the developing economies. We are really helping out and acting like a leader, and helping out other countries in their development endeavors. India has become a leader partner among developing economies by offering one of the most extensive market access schemes for the world's poorest nations under WTO framework. ठीक है, so India has offered to these extensive market access schemes to the world's poorest nations under this WTO. India has surpassed both China and EU, European Union also, in terms of preferential coverage offered to least developed countries. Okay, what all sectors are, the scheme provides benefits to which all sectors, export sectors: coffee, tea, leather, textiles, processed food. Remember this also directly MCQ में statement based question में they can write down this. So all those least developed countries who are producing or exporting coffee, tea, leather, textiles, processed food, India has opened its market. India has opened its market for duty free access. That means अब tariff नहीं लगाएंगे on these countries. These sectors are crucial for LDCs economies, and such access helps them integrate into the global value chains, and this is fostering development. Okay, so what is the name of the scheme? DFTP scheme. Remember this: DFTP, duty free tariff preference. Duty free tariff preference scheme. When was it introduced? In 2008. It covers 94.1% of tariff lines, making it one of the broadest market access programs. ठीक है, this reflects India's commitment to South-South cooperation. That means we, as a South-South cooperation, and we are becoming like a leader of the global South. ठीक है, and it is also helping out in inclusive regional growth. ठीक है. So, according to WTO's Secretariat's latest report, India ranks among the top nations providing duty free access to LDCs, which is a good thing, which is a positive aspect. India's DFTP scheme has been credited by WTO for significantly boosting exports from LDCs, particularly those in Asia and Africa, and this aligns with neighborhood first policy and Act East policy of our country as well. ठीक है. Then India provides one of the highest preferential margins globally, averaging 15.1 percentage points across all products. Okay, India's role as an export destination has improved a lot. So India acts as the uh, excuse me. India stands as the fifth largest export destination for LDCs. So these developed countries, they have market access to India, and India is what? Fifth largest export destination for these LDCs. Remember such facts. ठीक है, learn such facts, remember. ठीक है, accounting for 6.8% of total LDC exports in 2024. In comparison, China leads with 25%, followed by EU, UAE, and US. ठीक है, LDC exports to India in 2024 were valued at $21.5 billion, driven by minerals, agricultural commodities, textiles. Fine. And India, along with Korea and Montenegro, is among the few developing nations offering 90% duty free access to these LDC exports. Okay? And developed countries like Australia, New Zealand, Norway, Switzerland, they offer 100% duty free coverage. Okay? These are the developed countries. They offer 100% duty free coverage. And India, Korea, Montenegro, these developing nations, they provide 90% duty free access. Okay, so this scheme strengthens India's trade diplomacy with LDCs and enhances South-South trade cooperation. It promotes inclusive economic growth, regional partnership. Okay, so you guys can connect with me on Telegram. I will form a question based on an article. Okay, for your ESI descriptive. Based on this, I will formulate a question on this scheme, on this particular topic. Okay, you can join on Telegram. After the class, I will share the question. If you guys want, you can write down the answer and share it with me. I will check it and provide you the feedback. Okay, I will share the question on the Telegram group after the class. Okay. Next news is related to manufacturing mission to get 10,000 crore reboot. So the NMM, which is a national manufacturing mission we're talking about, which was first announced in this union budget, financially 26, with a modest 100 crore allocation. Now you can see that now it will get a 10,000 crore reboot. Fine. So India is planning a strong push to boost the manufacturing sector's share in country's GDP to 25% by 2035. Remember these kind of targets. I will form a question related to this national manufacturing mission also, and I will share it with you again on Telegram, so that you can practice the answer, right? So India is planning to boost the manufacturing sector's share. How much? 25% by 2035. Currently, it is around 12 to 13% only. So, you want to increase it to 25% by the year 2035. Such statements are very important. Okay, this can really help you in your descriptive answer writing, so that when you start the answer you can write down that, for example, if you get a question related to manufacturing sector, there you can start your answer that, currently India's manufacturing sector contributes around approximately 13% to the GDP, and our target is that by 2035 we have to increase this share to 25%. Okay, it will be implemented through 10,000 crore allocation under national manufacturing mission. Fine. So this was first announced in union budget. This year's union budget outlay was 100 crore. These funds will be used to finance greenfield projects. Now see, there are two kinds of projects: greenfield projects and brownfield projects. When the word greenfield is used, we talk about new projects. Absolutely new projects. Okay? From the scratch. When we talk about brownfield, these are the already existing. When we invest in already existing projects, are your brownfield projects or brownfield investments. So under this national manufacturing mission, funds will be used to finance greenfield projects and scale up high value sectors across 7 regional clusters. Okay? Viability gap funding approach will also be used to address the funding shortfalls. To address funding shortfalls, which approach will be used? Viability gap funding. Remember this. Okay, between project costs and private investment, ensuring financial sustainability. Goal is that we have to raise manufacturing sector's share from approximately 13% to 25% by 2035, and this will be achieved by targeting high value industries, boosting domestic value addition, integrating Indian manufacturing into global value chains. Okay, this national manufacturing mission will operate as an interministerial committee. This mission will only be operating as an interministerial committee, wherein there are going to be representatives from ministries of electronics, steel, heavy industries, renewable energy, and they are going to coordinate with each other to implement this scheme or this mission. There are going to be 16 key sectors where the focus will be: solar cells and modules, electric vehicle batteries, motors and controllers, electrolyzers, wind turbines, high voltage transmission equipment, grid scale batteries, steel, aluminum, base metals, non metallic minerals, chemicals, consumer durables, textiles. These are the specific focus areas under this mission. ठीक है? According to World Bank data, India's share in global manufacturing output stands at 2.9% compared to China's 31.6%. ठीक है? तो our share in global manufacturing is 2.9%, which is very very low, which is very very less. We have to improve this, we have to increase this. Again, this statement is very important. You can write down these data points on a side of your notebook so that you can remember it for your answer writing. NMM aims to close this gap by expanding domestic manufacturing and increasing India's participation in global trade. Okay? The proposal includes creation of export targets, performance linked monitoring for each other. It will promote MSMEs into manufacturing value chains. It will help India expand its global manufacturing presence. Okay? This mission aligns with Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Viksit Bharat by 2047. Focuses on industrial self-reliance, and India has to become a global manufacturing hub. That is the reason for this. Okay? Fine. So remember these basic facts. The mission is National Manufacturing Mission. Outlay 10,000 crore total outlay now. What is the objective? Raise manufacturing sector's share of GDP to 25% by 2035. Current share global manufacturing output में India का 2.9%, China का 31.6%. Focus areas you can see here: solar cells, EV batteries, motors, controllers, electrolyzers, wind turbines, textiles, metals, Implementation through an interministerial mission covering 7 regional clusters. Viability gap funding se we are going to fund the project. 16 key industries have been identified, the target sectors. And when was it announced? Union budget this year only. Fine. Good morning, MS. Then next, Deloitte has projected India's economy is likely to grow 6.7% and 6.9%. So for financial year 26, between 6.7 to 6.9%. This is the target of Deloitte. ठीक है, reasons are buoyant domestic demand, strong performance in financial year 25, rural demand is good, structural reforms have been taken up like GST, like UDES. ठीक है, it is basically, this was, like a typo in this thing, so it is basically PLI scheme. ठीक है. Then India's GDP growth output has decelerated to 5.8%, down from 7.8% in the previous quarter. Future quarter outlook क्या है कि it is going to boost demand, demand is going to be positive. Of course there are going to be uncertainties like global uh, geopolitical tensions and all, है ना, and there's slowdown in the US and European Union that might affect India's growth also. So these were your important and major news. Apart from that, we have fact-based news. Acha, so I will form questions and I will share it with you on Telegram, so you guys can connect with me there and वहाँ पे you can write down an answer. ठीक है? Then India plans strict rules for gene therapy. So for gene and stem cell therapies, there are new rules. Fine. Uh, India is planning to bring new regulations for medical treatments involving gene and stem cell therapy. So when we try to provide therapies and by uh, altering genes, stem cells for maybe cancerous things and all, for that we have new rules under strict government control, because market for such treatment has grown, so we are going to focusing on strict government control over here. We're trying to amend the existing law. The proposed changes aim to amend drug rules 1945. So what are we trying to amend? Drug rules 1945. Fine. We need to include explicitly include or separate stem cell derived products, gene therapeutic products, or xenografts, animal to human transplants, alongside recombinant DNA derived drugs in various sections. So what all focus have been done on stem cell derived products, gene therapeutic products, xenografts. ठीक है, remember these things. Focus will be on ensuring safety and quality. ठीक है, official draft has not yet been released. ठीक है, rules are going to be released shortly, but you need to know that अच्छा, we are focusing on these advanced therapies. This advanced therapies market is growing in India, and we need to control, we need to regulate this market. ठीक है, why is it important? These therapies help out in any kind of genetic disorder, various cancers, degenerative disorders, so it helps in curing these kind of problems. This market is growing, and that is why regulations have to be brought in. Indian cell and gene therapy market is expected to grow from $710.91 million in 24 to $2.51 billion by 2033. Again, these kind of targets are important. ठीक है, these kind of targets are important topic, these kind of statements are important, so remember it. Directly MCQ maybe, and even in your descriptive answer writing. Stem cell therapy segment alone is projected to grow from $816 million in 24 to $3.63 billion by 2035. So the focus of the government should be on patient safety, and confidence should be there among the doctors. ठीक है, we need to protect patients from unsafe claims, accelerate innovation and all also. That is why we have this news. It is possible in English descriptive that emerging technologies, yes, it can be a topic, MS. ठीक है. Then locker accounts will allow up to 4 nominees now. ठीक है, so now your locker accounts, government has tried to simplify the claim settlement process. ठीक है, फटाफट से claim settlement जल्दी जल्दी से हो जाए for those bank depositors. ठीक है, number of nominees have been increased. तो अप टू 4 नॉमिनीज यू कैन हैव. तो पहले को नहीं मिला, दूसरे को नहीं मिला, तीसरे को नहीं, फोर्थ वाले को मिल जाएगा. दिस टू सिंप्लीफाई द settlement process. ठीक है, so now up to 4 nominees can be there for the bank account holders and the lockers starting from November 25. Bank customers will be able to have up to 4 nominees for their bank accounts and lockers. ठीक है, effective date is the government has notified sections 10, 11, 12, 13 of Banking Laws Amendment Act 2025 concerning these changes, and they will come into effect from 1st November. ठीक है, customers may now nominate up to 4 people either simultaneously or successively. ठीक है, simultaneously मतलब इकट्ठे and successively एक के बाद एक के बाद एक. ठीक है. So for bank lockers, new rules clarify that a successive nominee becomes operative only upon the death of the previous one. Successive nominee का मतलब पहला अगर मर गया तो दूसरे को मिलेगा, दूसरा मर गया तो तीसरे को मिलेगा, तीसरा मर गया तो चौथे को मिलेगा, like that. ठीक है. Fine. Then depositors must also specify the percentage of entitlement for each nominee. अब हर हमको percentage भी बताना है कि अच्छा इसको 50% मिलेगा, इसको 30%, इसको 40%, इसको 20%, like that. Transparency and uniformity has to be maintained. And what are the act that we're talking about? Banking Laws Amendment Act 2025. Very important. Remember the name of the act. Okay, and we are going to amend which rules? Banking Companies Nomination Rules 2025 will be amended. Okay, we have to strengthen governance. Legislation amends several banking related acts. Okay, to strengthen governance standards in the sector, ensure uniform reporting, enhance depositor and investor protection. Okay. Then railways on a spending spree may need more central funds. So यहाँ पे रेलवे की डिमांड की बात कर रहे हैं कि रेलवेज might need more money. ठीक है. So Indian Railways high capital expenditure utilization indicating a potential need for additional central funds. So railways में काफी ज़्यादा expenditure हो रहा है, capital expenditure हो रहा है, and that is why what is the news कि ज़्यादा हो सकता है, central fund ज़्यादा allot हो. Indian Railways have been on a spending spree, ज़्यादा ही spend कर रहे हैं कुछ. ठीक है. They have achieved the highest mid-year utilization. Funds have been exhausted already. 1.6 trillion rupees के funds have been exhausted in the first 7 months only. ठीक है. 1.6 trillion is over 65% of its budgetary allocation. तो जितना budgetary allocation उसको होता है उसमें से 65% they've already utilized. ठीक है. So total 2.52 trillion इनको मिला है. कितना utilize exhaust कर दिया इन्होंने? 1.6 trillion. तो हो सकता है they will want more. ठीक है. So they might exhaust the funds well before March, and that is why there can be a higher need for funds from the central government. क्यों expenditure increase हो रहा है? Because they are focusing on capital intensive programs. High spending is on capital intensive programs. Then they are focusing on specific projects like Kavach, automatic train protection system. I hope you know what is Kavach. You're going to read about these in detail. Vande Bharat trains and Kavach. ठीक है. Kavach. Then why do we need additional funds in the railway sector? So that we can have more Vande Bharat trains, so that we can accelerate work on high speed railways for coverage installation signaling system. Okay, so these were your important news articles. Let's do a few MCQs. Let's see that whether you guys have understood or not. And I hope the articles or whatever news we have covered today, I hope it is clear to all of you. Okay, chalo. First question. What percentage of Indian Railways total financial year 26 budget allocation of 2.52 trillion has it already exhausted in the first 7 months? Less than 50%, exactly 50%, over 65%, 75%, over 80%. What is the answer? MS is saying E. Satvik is saying 65. Anybody else? How much percentage we have already exhausted? 65 is absolutely correct. Over 65. C is the correct answer. ठीक है? Second question. Beginning November 1, as per the government's notification, what is the maximum number of nominees a bank customer will be permitted to have for their bank accounts and lockers under the new rules? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Very easy question. How many nominees can be there now? Satvik has given me the answer. Candyman has given me the answer. MS has given me the answer. The answer is 4. Very good. Third question. India's proposed new regulations for gene and stem cell therapies are primarily an amendment to which existing set of rules? The Medical Devices Rules 2017, Clinical Establishments Registration and Regulation Act of 2010, Biotechnology Rules 1989, Biomedical Waste Management Rules 2016, Drug Rules 1945. हाँ, very good. Candyman, successive and simultaneous था and 4 nominees है ना? Very good. Hanji, what is the answer for this question? Now, India's proposed new regulations for gene and stem cell therapies are primarily an amendment to which set of rules? MS has given me B as the answer. Anybody else? The correct answer is Drug Rules 1945. Okay, not B. Next question. According to the Deloitte report mentioned in the article, what is the revised projected range for India's GDP growth in financial year 26? 6 to 6.5, 6.5 to 7, 6.7 to 6.9, 7 to 7.5, or 6.2 to 6.7? There's a fourth question only, na? Fourth question, Satvik is saying C, which is absolutely correct. 6.7 to 6.9%. Recently, RBI cautioned states against fiscal slippage due to rising bond yields. According to the report, what was the major concern highlighted by RBI Governor Sanjay Malhotra? Rising inflation rates and high gold imports, excessive pre election populist spending and widening state fiscal deficits, declining global commodity prices affecting state revenues, low GST collections by central government, increasing foreign investment outflows from India. Again, a very easy question. What is the reason? Major concern. MS is saying A, Satvik is saying B. B is absolutely the correct answer. Excessive pre election populist spending and widening state fiscal deficits. ठीक है? Uh, Sixth question. What is the main target of National Manufacturing Mission by 2035? Increase India's services sector share to 40%, raise manufacturing share in GDP to 25%, double India's agricultural exports, reduce import dependency by 10%, increase India's export share to 30% of world trade. Sixth B, the correct answer is B, raise manufacturing share to GDP in GDP to 25% from approximately 13% right now. Right. Seventh question, which policy frameworks does India's DFTP scheme align with? Neighborhood First and Act East, Make in India, Digital India, Sagar Look West, Atmanirbhar Bharat and Bharat Mara Look East, and National Trade Policy. Again, easy question. Which policy frameworks does India's DFTP scheme align with? Seventh A. John is saying A. MS is saying E. The correct answer is A. Neighborhood First and Act East policy. ठीक है? According to the new guidance, who is required to pay 100? Acha, your what is the estimated financial impact on India due to US sanctions on Rosneft and Lukoil? Eighth question. $1.2 billion, $2.7 billion, $4.5 billion, 5.3 or $6.8 billion. Financial impact on India. B 2.7, absolutely correct. Yeah, fine. By when are US companies required to stop transactions with Russian oil firms as per the new sanctions? Ninth question. October 31, November 15, November 21, December 1, December 15. Ninth question. John is saying B, which is not correct. It is November 21. Okay. What percentage of India's total crude oil imports currently come from Russia? 20%, 25, 30, 35, or 40? C, D, B. The correct answer is D, 35%. ठीक है, 35% of our crude oil imports currently come from Russia. ठीक है? So that is all from my side, everyone. Thank you so much. And you can connect with me on Telegram. Again, all those who are new, you can connect with me over here. Just type Manat Educator. I will also be sharing around 1 2 questions for your descriptive answer writing based on these news articles. So you can connect there, write an answer, and share with me. Okay? If there's any doubt that you want to ask, you can ask. Otherwise, we will end the session here. Okay, John, Satvik. Let's meet up in the next session. Okay, till then, keep studying, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye bye. MS, your viewpoint session is going to be on Sunday at 9 p.m. ठीक है, Sunday 9 p.m. पे we will have a viewpoint session. ठीक है, okay, bye everyone.